Part 6. Something darker.
I don't remember the original stuff.
Oh, this is awesome. Brought some friends.
Alfred's like, dude, you can't just bring people here.
Oh gosh, yes, yes. This is Alfred. I work for him.
Alfred?
I work for him?
Yeah. Bruce said that he works for Alfred, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting. Huh.
Does the Martian Manhunter show up?
Yeah, I know. I don't know how much he's gonna be in it. I hope he shows up more. If not, it's like the biggest tease. Really random.
Well, it makes sense why they changed that location, the location of the scene.
Yeah.
Because it was a reshoot.
Yeah. Yeah, in the reshoot it was actually Martha. Ooh, look at that little Superman girl.
What?
The ring.
No, is she wearing it?
She was wearing her.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, they did like a close-up shot.
Okay.
Her handing the coffee and she had her ring on.
Aww. That's kind of cool.
Hmm.
She didn't like matching with the butterfly. Hmm.
I have a second chance, Mom. I have not been wasted.
Aww. Kiss, 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 yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. Mwah! Aww. Man, this day took such a turn for her.
I know.
I mean, I guess it took a bigger turn for him, but like... Oh. Gosh. Can you imagine being a mom when this happens? Like,
She knows, or is she just coming?
no, I think she was
just-
called her.
She's just not finding her.
Aww.
The sunset with that makes it perfect.
I know. She's like, you're the best. Gosh, it pays off having an alien kid.
Yeah.
Aww.
Flat as its nature. Yours too. Could be your Alfred, I know it. What makes you so sure? Face, Alfred. Face.
Faith! Yeah! Woo! He's got faith in Superman.
That entrance is pretty cool.
What's that?
The entrance? It's in
Yeah.
the middle of the lake.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
With Barry's help, he'll break through the Unity's defenses.
Remind me, how's that again?
With the power of love,
Very.
with a catastrophic energy surge.
Trusted the very attempted to generate a charge of that size. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have this in the other one, right? Or did he?
He hasn't worn this one before.
It's very majestic.
Yeah, it calls back to Man of Steel, too. Because Man of Steel also had a very similar thing. Ooh. See? This is what happened at the end of Batman vs. Superman. Like, the stones started levitating. So it made you think that he was like, you know, like, I don't know.
You need to show them who you are.
Yes.
Let them go.
Look at this guy.
The way we love you. Fly, son.
Fly.
It's time.
Yes. Boom! He's just breaking all this out barriers. Yes. Look at that. Crucifix pose. I just want that on a canvas. Is he stretching? That's great.
Yoga.
It's kind of funny. I mean, I guess that is what the Flash would have to do.
Where's he going?
Probably to get closer. Because they can move faster. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. Oh, I think he's having to break through the shield. He's breaking through the shield for him. Kill him. Uh-oh, Bug's Life Part 3. He's about to drive out with the Batmobile. Get ready, boys. I'm about to get run over. Lights come on. Yep. Boom! Oh!
Oh, wow.
Never mind. He was not running them over. Wow. He didn't have to shoot him. He could have just run them over, but he's like, nah.
He's going all out.
He's like, let's go. Oh, I thought that was her yelling.
Yes, it
I thought she was like, ah! I was like, wow. Killing it, Wonder Woman. You got some chords.
This time again.
Yeah. He's like, we're just gonna go through the building. Oh, that's cool. Batman just eject out of it. That's funny to me for some reason.
He's prepared for it all.
That was legit. Look at him go. He's killing it.
Yeah, Batman.
Wow.
Who said you need superpowers?
Yeah, I guess.
Batman said, not me. So you're rich.
Ooh. Oh, wow. He can chuck a spear.
They always gotta take time to stare at each other in the middle of combat.
Seriously, like, come on, guys. Oh, nice. He couldn't have given himself more time.
T-Rex.
You said you'd come. Now let's hope you're not too late.
Gosh, that's so cool looking. With that music.
For the dark side.
Oh, oh, it just like stomped on his shoulder. Did you say you missed? He just blew on it? Yes.
This is great. This is so good.
Oh, yeah. Yes! This is Sparta!
This is Sparta!
Oh, man. You guys see some heat vision coming on? Yeah? Yeah, oh yeah! Yes! Bro, you're in for it now. Oh yeah. Oh, he's got 7 fingers. Oh my gosh. It's intense. That's like her only power move. Yes! Oh! Get him. Yeah. Yeah. Boom! Heat vision, let's go. Boom! Oh, these kind of. Oh, ouch! Hey, man. You didn't have to do that. Oh. 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 Dang. That makes me appreciate the Flash a lot more. Oh yeah, he heals really quickly. Yes! Oh crap. Is that gonna be Darkseid? Oh crud. Oh no. Oh, he's gotten bigger. Oh, crap. Oh my gosh. Wait, is he vibrating through it? Oh.
Yeah.
He's gonna run back in time?
I think so.
Yeah. Let's go, yeah.
You got it. You can do a flash. I believe you.
Suddenly flashing the speed of light far beyond the speed of light. Can't break the rule. Are you gonna do it now?
Let's go, yeah.
This was not in the original.
No, not at all.
This is cool.
This is so cool. Yeah, this is awesome. Oh man.
Whatever happens, you know. Your kid was one of them, Dad.
Aww.
One of the best of the best.
Oh. Heck yeah, this is cool. I like this.
Literally, the planet's destroyed, right?
Yeah, the planet's like, well,
ridiculous.
yeah, it's being destroyed or either turning into a.
It's gone,
Yeah.
but he's bringing it back. But
Yeah, that is so cool. That's awesome. Oh, that's legit. The Flash is so powerful. Oh my gosh. I need to show you the original. Nothing like this happens. This is cool. He's literally. That's so cool! Oh my gosh.
Yeah, literally, that all happens in the original is they beat Steppenwolf.
Yeah. They literally just beat him and then it ends. This is legit. He's literally running the world back into existence. Wow. Good thing that they recruited him. Oh my gosh. This is cool. The heck? He's having another vision thing? Because he's touching the mother boxes?
Yeah, probably.
Oh! What the heck's going on here? Those are 3 mother boxes, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's oh, those like mother, I guess? He's separating them? Oh, this is cool. This is neat. Yeah! Ah, let's go! Yeah! Boo! Ooh! Oh, okay. Aquaman just killed him. Nice! Oh, punch him back right through to Darkseid. Oh, decapitated head right as it closes, right? Right as the portal closes?
So only his head goes through?
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see. Right? Is that what's gonna happen? Oh no, the whole thing. Ooh! Darkseid is vicious. Oh my gosh. Jeez. This is intense. It's like no words. Oh, Darkseid is not happy.
Oh no.
So Darkseid's coming.
Who was that guy?
What?
Who's the other dude there?
That's Granny Goodness. She's also. She's evil.
That's a female?
That's a female, yeah. Well, they won for now. That was just taking on. Wait, why did he jump in the first place?
I'm not sure what's going on
Look at that. Where's Aquaman? Oh, there he is. Okay. I like how they're mid fist bump. It's cool. We did it, guys. Dude, the Flash is the MVP.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's Aquaman, did you know
That is Aquaman.
That's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That's Batman.
See, like that. Even that looks like a like Olympian thing.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, we've done it. We reached part 6. Something darker. All we've got left is the epilogue. What'd you think of it?
It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. That's high praise. High praise. What was freaking awesome to you?
I mean, honestly, really everything about it was, but I mean, part of it, partly probably because of the fact that comparing it to the Justice League, just the fight scene in general was just so much better.
So much better.
But also because of the fact that with everything else we've talked about, this moment is like, you've been waiting for it.
Yes.
And now, like, everything's culminating together.
Yeah.
And, like, every little thing that, like, before didn't have as much meaning, now it's like, oh, wow.
It actually felt like a satisfying payoff.
Yeah, and in general, it was just a better fight anyways. Yeah. Everyone played a part. Batman kind of paves the way for them to come in.
Yes. Yeah, no, every single... You get why everyone's needed.
Yeah, right? Even Batman, which you can be like, why is Batman there? Because he's like just a dude. And you're like, oh, he's the rich guy who has the technology, but no, he's also a fighter too.
Yeah, and this one we get to see that, and we'll address that because I'm excited to talk about that part. But yeah, this part, I mean, to me, I think the number one thing that makes this part stand apart from the other one is that this actually feels like a climax. The other one, I'm pretty sure when we got to this point when we were watching the Justice League version, this is around when we looked at each other and we were like, we're just waiting for the movie to end.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it actually felt like, oh, this is it. Like, things are coming together.
Plus the fact that Darkseid was already an established villain, and so you're kind of waiting for him to show up.
Yes.
And then once you kind of saw it coming together, and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah. You're like,
Darkseid is here.
Yeah.
Like at one point, doesn't Steppenwolf say he's here?
Yes, yeah. And literally, Steppenwolf's laying on the ground. Superman's been beating him up. Steppenwolf's had like one of his horns cut off, and then he's smiling, saying he's here. And you're like, oh man, like this guy's literally near death, and he's smiling. It's like, oh boy, yeah. So it's exciting stuff. I really like this, and I think I'm really hoping somebody out there will create a video where the two movies are put side by side.
Yeah.
And like obviously like one of them will have to go black whenever like there's like different scenes and stuff. But I think this movie is so much better when you compare it to the other one. I mean, it's a good movie in and of itself. Don't get me wrong. But whenever you've seen the Justice League one, it's hard to view this one independently. Yeah. So I think it's actually, this movie's almost better because the Justice League one came out first. Because I don't know how much I would have loved it. I think I would have enjoyed the movie in and of itself, but when you compare it to Justice League, you're just like, wow.
It's the fulfillment.
Yes, so much better. You're just realizing, okay, the direction makes a big difference.
Even down to the level of just the lighting and the colors.
Yes. Yeah.
That alone.
Yeah, it's something darker, right? Because the other one, there's like red skies, and it just feels weird. I don't know why. Like, because, I don't know. So in the movie trailers, whenever the movie was first coming out, the original movie trailers had the dark skies like this one. But then, whenever Joss Whedon was hired to come in, he edited them red later. And I'm like, I don't know what creative choice, like this had to go through multiple people, where they were like, yeah, this looks better. And that confuses me. Because it tells me that they already had it edited, at least parts of it were edited in this way. But some, like, people were like, yeah, red skies, that sounds good.
The fact that they had to actually spend money on that.
Yeah.
I can only imagine red because evil, but, I mean, even then...
I think they just wanted more color or something, I don't know. But yeah.
Because to me, like, I don't think that red really gets that point across as much as, like, a darkness, like, a nighttime, like, you know, night has come. You know, like the world's falling asleep.
Yes. Ooh. Good. That's good stuff. Good stuff. The world's falling asleep. All right, let's walk through this because I have a feeling we'll probably be spending a little bit longer on this part than kind of like the last one, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get through quicker because I think we're hoping to also watch the epilogue and film that video tonight so we can just call it quits with these videos, but we'll see. We'll see how long we talk on this because that'll determine that. So this whole one, it opens up, well, I misspelled that on my notes. Clark is reuniting with Lois and his mom. Right? That's how this one opens up. It just opens up on the Kent farm. And you have Lois and Clark talking, and they're hanging out, and then Martha pulls up, and you know she gets to reunite with her son. What did you think about all that stuff?
I thought it was really fitting because again, like they established all of that they established it really well in this one, much more so than in the Justice League. Yeah. And so like you could actually see the pain they were going through and like their whole processing. I mean, so it was so much more satisfying.
Yeah.
When you like see the mom and her like when she's.
Oh, isn't it sweet?
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I not that I understand, but like you're like, oh, that makes like a lot more sense.
Yeah, well, the whole point, whenever somebody's acting, they're supposed to draw you in to where you do feel the things they feel, even if you don't relate. Like, I'm not a mother who, I actually said this to you in the movie. Like, I looked and I was like, man, do you know, like, how that must feel? And you were like, well, no, technically. But you got what I meant, though.
Yeah,
because,
I got you, man.
Like, the way that the scene plays out, you feel Martha's excitement.
You're immersed in it.
Yeah, and, like, just the look on her face, like, it feels like a genuine reaction to your son coming back to life. She's not just like, oh my gosh, you're back, because that's not how you'd react. She looks at him with skepticism first. And then it's like, you just like feel like this weight on her, and then it's slowly released. And then like she just like runs to him and like he holds her and stuff. And this is where obviously at the end of each of these videos, I end up doing like a theological reflection.
Yeah.
But just right now, I've got to address it in this scene. This reminds me of the scenes in the Gospels whenever Jesus comes back to life. Because here you have Lois and here you have Martha, and to me they're very similar to, the women are the first ones to encounter the risen Jesus at the tomb.
That's true.
And it just reminds me of this stuff because it's like in John chapter 21, John chapter 20, whenever Mary Magdalene encounters Jesus, she like grabs onto him and he cautions her and he says, hey, don't cling to me, because he's like basically don't get used to me being around because I'm about to have to leave again.
Yeah.
And that's very similar to what Superman says to them here, because he says, hey, they brought me back for a reason. And so he's letting them know, like, I'm going to have to leave again. And he's going to have to go do something even harder. And so, I don't know, I just thought that was very interesting, the parallel there. It's like they're hugging him, and he's basically saying, don't cling to me, because there's a chance. I mean, with Jesus, obviously, we know he's coming back. And obviously they weren't just going to re-kill Superman, even though they kind of did. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But it's the same idea, right? Don't cling to me because I've got some other work to do. I'm not going to be here for long.
And then I like how they even like had him rise in the air.
Yes.
And just the entire scene was really cool. I'm sad they took that out.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a scene similar to this in the Justice League one, but it was much more condensed and it didn't flow as much. And there was something about Lois complimenting him on how he smelt or something like that. And it was just like, it was weird. Like, so they did have a similar one, but once again, it didn't have as long to breathe. It was just, it was much more condensed. It was rushed because they were just trying to get to the final fight.
Yeah, you weren't immersed in it. It was just kind of like, you were just viewing it.
Yeah. But then we, through all this stuff, we're cutting back and forth between this scene and the Justice League at the Batcave, where they're kind of planning their strategy for what they're going to do. And so, we get to see all the reactions as they enter the Batcave. Barry is probably the one who's the most excited. He's just looking around like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And during all this, probably the one thing that's notable worth mentioning, we're not going to mention every little thing. We never do. But during this, Batman is sitting there and he's looking at Barry, like at the Flash. And he starts telling Wonder Woman, he starts saying, I had this premonition. And I was sitting right here. And Barry Allen shows up and he starts telling me, Lois is the key. Lois is the key. And you haven't seen this scene because you haven't seen Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
But this is a reference to Batman vs. Superman where this plays out. Literally, Batman's just chilling. Like this vortex opens up and Barry Allen shows up. And he's like, Lois is the key. And at the time, you don't even know who Barry Allen is. But you're just like, okay, this is the Flash. And he's showing up saying Lois is the key. And then he disappears. And Batman's like, what the heck was that about? But now he's met Barry Allen. And he's looking at this and he's trying to figure out what's going on. And Wonder Woman's like, well, Lois was the key. Everybody has their key. And she was the key to Superman. Like, that's why we, like, let him leave with her. And he says, no, I think it's something more. Something darker. And that's the name of the chapter, right? So this chapter is looking forward to stuff we're going to see in the epilogue. It's the idea that there's going to be something a little bit more that Lois plays to this whole part. It's not just, like, she isn't just there to bring Superman back to sanity in this moment, right? So that's just a little foreshadowing for what's to come.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if that was, like, answered.
Yeah, no, it wasn't answered in this part. And it's not fully answered in the epilogue. I'm just going to give you a heads up. The epilogue is basically just one big tease for the future of the Snyderverse, which we might or might not get. So, yeah, I know, it's really sad, because basically this chapter is the one that, like, you want to stop here if you want to not want more. Like, you can just stop here and it just ends with them being happy and stuff. But if you watch the epilogue, you're going to be like, #restore the Snyderverse. But yeah. And so the whole thing culminates, though, finally, Alfred has finally repaired the whole like bat plane thing they've been working on throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And they finally, they get on the elevating platform and they start boarding. And, Batman, he turns to Alfred and he says, "He'll be here, Alfred, I know it." And Alfred says, "What makes you believe that?" And then Batman says, "Faith, Alfred, faith." And you can guarantee that that's going to be part of the theological reflection. But for now, I'm just going to leave it there. Just let it simmer. Let you think about it. And in a few minutes, we'll explain my theological reflection
I
on
also
that.
like the part, I think it's right before that, where they're going through the plan, and Cyborg talks about, like, having to go in there and, like, was he joined with the wake boxes?
Yeah, boxes, yeah.
And, like, they go through that whole thing. I like that scene.
Yeah. No, I like that we get to see their strategy a little bit more. They're breaking down, and they're even discussing the different roles that everybody's going to play. You have the Flash makes his little joke about the power of love. How are you going to do that? The power of love? And they're like, no, seriously. And he's like, okay, well, surge energy or something. I just thought it was funny because that's an example of a joke that actually lands. Yeah. Because it's not too cringy. They don't like pause and linger on it. It's just like a character quirk of this guy, like, a super smart guy being like, I don't feel like explaining the gory details of it, so let me just make a little joke here.
That or it's just like not coping, but like, cracking a joke and to
lighten the mood,
lighten the mood.
Yeah, for sure. So I do like all that. I like how it all played out. And then after they, they're on their way to Russia, which is basically, we learned that where they're at was basically a nuclear wasteland, but they kind of just gloss over this very quickly, but Cyborg says that Steppenwolf harvested the radiation. And I was like, is that something you can just that easily do? That's kind of useful. Like, that's cool. Like, you're just gonna, that's neat. All right, you just harvested the radiation. So basically they're explaining they're in an empty place where nobody's gonna get injured. So you don't have to worry about all the fighting going on.
Like collateral damage?
Yeah, no collateral damage. Mainly because it seems like these later movies dealt with that a lot more, because Man of Steel, basically Superman and the bad guy, they're just having a fight in the middle of Metropolis. And a bunch of people died. And for some reason, a bunch of people got mad. I don't know why, because that happens in all the Avengers movies, but nobody complains. But I think it's because the Avengers movies are more lighthearted. And so you don't even notice. People are dying left and right and nobody cares. But Man of Steel, it's a much more serious movie. And so you're like, oh man, like thousands of people are dying. And so in Batman vs. Superman, like there's like this throwaway line where they're like, don't worry, they're fighting on an island where there's nobody, like nobody's been living there for years. And you're like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Like, they're just trying to be like, okay, there's going to be destruction, but don't worry, nobody's dying. And that's basically what they're doing here. Oh, he's in a nuclear wasteland, but don't worry, we can be there because he harvested the nuclear energy, so that there's no radiation, but there's also no people. Unless you go to the Justice League version, in which case there is a random Russian family just chilling there. I forgot about that. Yeah. Thankfully, they're not in this movie. It's the most random stuff in the world. That's like, and in the Justice League version, that's the big thing that the Flash does. And we'll talk about what the Flash does in this movie. But in the Justice League one, the biggest thing the Flash does is push a truck away.
Not to mind you that the Superman still did his job better than him.
Yeah, Superman goes and like lifts up an apartment building or something like that.
But I mean, also outruns him.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, the Flash has been running for the truck for a while, and Superman just catches up with him.
Yeah.
And so every time the Flash does something, Superman ones up him in the Justice League version.
So I like the fact that they, like, made Superman still as powerful as he was in the Justice League, but they didn't have to make him do everyone's job better than themselves. He just... Well,
yeah, I would say that they made Superman even more powerful in this one, but they also made the other characters more powerful as well. Yeah. To where each one, you see why they needed to all be here.
Yeah, you cut any one of them out and it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one is like, oh, they only needed Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, in the Justice League one, literally, I think they could have accomplished the entire job with just Superman. Like, the only reason they needed the other people is because Superman took so long getting there. But if Superman had just been there from the beginning, none of the rest would have been needed. Whereas in this one, it's clear everyone's needed. Yeah. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. While they're on their way to Russia, Superman, he suits up, right? You have this slow moment. He's just walking through the Kryptonian ship. And then you see his normal red, blue, yellow suit, this suit, sorry, I was pointing the wrong way. That one over there. You see that one behind him, but he's looking at a different one. and then he puts on the black suit with the gray like insignia and the white, and he cloaks up. What did you think about this scene?
I thought it was interesting, but I don't know like the significance of that.
Yeah, so that's mainly what I was asking, because this was a big thing. I think originally they actually filmed it in the blue suit, and they just went back and re-edited it, because in the comic books, whenever Superman comes back, he comes back in a black suit. And so that's a pretty big deal. Like, fans were really upset in the Justice League one whenever he didn't show up in a black suit.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, you can't do this stuff and not have him come back in a black suit. Really, in the Justice League one, he actually comes back in like a hyper-saturated suit. Like, it's like very bright.
Yeah, it's like very.
But this one, I think they went back and colored it just because they knew it was more fan service. Like, this whole movie, the Snyder Cut, is a fan service movie. It exists because of fans. So they were just kind of doing that. But I think I could kind of justify it because he just came back to life, and he knows he's about to fight somebody more powerful than he's ever fought before. And then immediately what he does is he gets in the black suit and he goes and charges by the sun. Because Superman gets his power from the sun.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so immediately you cut to him just standing there in a crucifix pose soaking in the sun.
Yeah.
And so wearing black actually makes sense.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, so like to me that's how I justify it in my head. Even though I think originally they didn't film it that way. But that makes sense to me. And in the comics he's wearing a black suit because it's helping power him. Like I think it's exactly because it receive solar energy, and there's something special about the suit that's rejuvenating him. Because in the comics, he actually, like, nobody brought him back to life. Like, he actually, like, came back to life himself.
Oh, really?
Like, it was basically, it's like that he didn't fully die. He was just mostly dead, to quote the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
It was basically, he went to, like, this, like, coma. It's, like, something that Kryptonian bodies do. Like, whenever they're close to death, they go into a coma to, like, preserve themselves.
Oh, okay.
And then, eventually, he started recharging, and he came back, and then he needed the black suit to further recharge himself.
And so, hibernation mode.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. But that's why he needed the black suit, and I've got to say, it looks really good. I'm a big fan of how the black suit looks. And so I'm glad they included that. And so he recharges, and then we cut back, and the final fight is going on. Right, so Batman, he blasts through the whole thing, and then he's killing some parademons left and right. Everybody else is coming in there. The Flash starts running around everything. Wonder Woman's killing people. Aquaman's flying through, acting like a surfer dude. Cyborg's, his main goal is to get to the mother box and separate them. What did you think about this final fight?
It was just, in general, it was done really well. Like, the lighting was really nice, and, oh, geez, I'm trying to remember, like, all the little things.
It was just a more enjoyable fight.
In general, it was a much more enjoyable fight.
Yeah, it was extended, and what I was explaining to him is there's actually some shots, because most of this fight is CG, obviously. Spoiler alert, they weren't actually fighting an alien while filming this movie. Most of this is just, CGI stuff on a set, and it's edited in post-production. So there's some shots that are in this movie that were in the other movie, in the Whedon cut, but they've edited them to be totally different things. So at the final part, whenever Wonder Woman actually decapitates Steppenwolf, I'm pretty sure in the original one, that same shot was whenever she actually cuts off, she breaks his axe, which causes the parademons to attack Steppenwolf. So I thought it was interesting how, like, you see how much of this is CGI. Because, like, you literally can change the context of an entire scene in this stuff. But I really think just the choreography of all this is really cool. You actually feel the weight of the punches and stuff a lot more in this one, I think.
Yeah.
To where you actually feel like you even said it, whenever they finally, I think it was Wonder Woman and Aquaman, whenever they first showed up there and, like, Steppenwolf standing there, you actually feel like, oh man, this guy is a threat. He turns around and, like, his eyes are, like, glowing blue. He's, like, going Super Saiyan, and then, like, his armor is, like, more spiky.
Yeah.
Spikier, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be kind of like a cat, like, with the hair, like, being, like, he's like on super alert mode.
He just starts hissing. You're like, hey, man, what you doing? But yeah.
Part of the act.
It's part of the act for Darkseid. I will say, I do feel really bad for Steppenwolf, ultimately. Like, he's a really good villain, first off. He's a much better villain in this movie than he was in the Whedon version of the movie. But you also feel bad for him. I felt nothing for him in the Whedon one. I just thought he was annoying. He wasn't a good villain, and I didn't care for him at all. In this one, he's a good villain, and I hate him, but I also feel really bad for him.
Yeah, you feel bad because, he's just wanting redemption.
Yeah.
But then also it's kind of like almost like an Anakin, like, turning to the dark side, like...
Yeah.
Using devious means to.
Yeah, it's like the extent you'll go to just to please the people that you want to please, you know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's wanting to please a person whose name is literally Darkseid.
He literally went to the dark side.
Yeah, it's like maybe like next time, Steppenwolf, if you get another chance, which you won't because you're dead, but if you get another chance, maybe like follow somebody called Lightside or something. If you're literally following Darkseid, I guarantee you're probably going to be evil. But yeah, Steppenwolf just in general better villain, and the fight scenes like they carry more weight, and you actually feel like these people are there for a reason. Like you talked about this earlier, Batman. He's a standout to me because he plays a big part throughout all of this, whereas in the whole Whedon movie, I didn't understand why Batman had to be there. It seems like he's the guy who got the team together. He played no other part other than being rich.
Yeah, but even in the fight, like I said, he kind of like paved the way. Like he had to be the one to go in there and then destroy the tower.
Exactly.
If he hadn't done that, they wouldn't have gotten in there.
Yeah. So like exactly, like they literally needed him to do that. And then there's even this whole scene where you get to see him holding his own against these parademons. He's like ejecting out of the Batmobile, swinging through all this stuff. He's dive rolling. You realize, wow, this dude's actually really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he killed all the people on those turrets and whatnot. And
yeah.
I mean, considering that they almost killed the Flash already, I mean, the Flash may have died if Batman wasn't there.
Yeah, well, literally, the rest of them are all fighting on the inside, and they're all facing against one guy, against Steppenwolf. Batman's on the outside taking care of everybody else. Like, he's just going from gun to gun, taking care, like, so Batman actually plays a really crucial part in this.
Yeah.
Whereas in the other one, he's just kind of there, like, just being like, oh, man, like if you go rewatch it, he's literally just, like, pinned against a wall most of the time, being like, oh, wow, and then Superman shows up, and he's like, nice. And, like, it's so stupid. Yeah. Batman doesn't play a part in the other one,
But that's also because they didn't establish him as powerful, so in the Joss Whedon Batman, he wouldn't have been able to do anything else because he would have died.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he bleeds.
Oh, yep, there's bleeding. But to me, if you're going to have Batman, like I'm not even the biggest Batman fan like a lot of people are, but if you're going to have Batman in a movie like this, you've got to justify why he's there.
Yeah.
Even more than any of the other ones. Because the other ones, I can understand why they'd want a character like the Flash. I can understand why you'd want Wonder Woman there. I understand why you want Cyborg and Aquaman. But the Batman, he's literally just a guy. You've got to explain to me why he needs to be there. More than just, I'm the guy with money who can get people together. No, like, okay, you got the people together, you got the money, you stay home and let them go take care of it.
Why is he in the fight?
Exactly. And this movie actually does that. Like, you see, okay, this dude is a man. These other people, they're like gods among men. He's a man, but he's like as close to a god as you can be. He's like a demigod, right? So if this is like the DC cinematic mythology, maybe that's a new name they should give it. It's like the DC mythology. That'll set them apart from Marvel.
Yeah.
But that'd be if they #restore the Snyderverse. But Batman, you get why he's there. You're like, okay, like this guy can hold his own in the midst of this fight. So that's really cool, and I'm glad they did that. And really, we talked about this as well. Every single character plays a part in this. We've already talked about Batman. Cyborg, his literal whole thing is separating the mother boxes, which is also his thing in the Justice League one, but you don't understand how. You don't get to see his interaction with the mother boxes. You don't get to understand why he thinks he can do anything about them. Literally, it basically plays off like, oh, I'm very strong. I can come in here and separate them. That's basically the extent of it. Whereas in this one, you learn, oh, like, he has an intimate connection with these things. He's going to, like, insert his mind into them. And, like, it's more than just pushing them apart. Like, it's like a...
And then you also see, like, the temptation scene.
Yes, which that's at the very end, where you literally... Yeah, it's basically... You were comparing it to Satan, right? Or demons, like, trying to tempt us, where you have Cyborg, and he sees himself, his mother, and his dad. And they're saying, hey, you can be whole again. And he kind of realizes this is temptation. It's the mother box speaking to him, trying to get him to allow the unity to exist.
Yeah, like Satan wants you to see in him what you want.
Yeah.
But then once you call him out on what he is, then you see the ugliness that is sin.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden,
So Sean's doing our theological reflection today. Look at that. But no, it's really good. So he looks at this and he's like, oh no, I'm already whole. And so he breaks him apart. So Cyborg plays a part. The Flash, we'll get to the Flash in a second because he plays a real big part. Aquaman, he's the one who finally kind of kills Steppenwolf, right? He's the one who impales him. And he does a pretty dang good job fighting Steppenwolf as well. Whereas in the Whedon one, it just seems like all of them are just getting thrown around by Steppenwolf till Superman shows up and beats him up.
Yeah.
So really, you're wondering why are these people
They're
here?
just entertaining him.
Yeah. Whereas in this one, they pose a serious threat, and there's the Wonder Woman. That's the one I haven't mentioned yet. Steppenwolf literally says to her this one line, which I thought was really strange. Whenever she shows up, he says, why did you leave your sisters on the island? You weren't there to save them, and you could have. That was a weird line to me, because he's implying that he's aware of the fact that she is so powerful that if she had been there with them on Themyscira when he attacked, he wouldn't have ended up with the Mother Box. And that was just interesting to me, because I was like,
I mean, does he know that she wasn't able to return there?
I don't know. I don't know if he knows the full details.
He could just be saying, like, you could have saved them if you wanted to, but then
that's true.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense to her because she knows she couldn't return. But then at the same time, if he's trying to, like, get in her head, then you can be like, you could have saved your family, but you didn't. That's
true. Because it does seem like a lot of it was him trying to just get in her head, because he did say stuff like, you know, they pled for their lives and stuff, and she's like, you're lying. Because he's like, no, they didn't. She knows that they wouldn't do that. But Wonder Woman also plays a part. She's literally the one who decapitates the guy. And so all of them are playing a really big part. So that whenever Superman finally does show up, and believe me, he shows up big time. Like, he shows up, blaze of glory. Like, this dude is like, it's clobbering time. Let's go.
And just the specific way he entered was also.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Yeah, so basically, you got Wonder Woman and Aquaman. They're fighting against Steppenwolf, and they get, like, they're doing pretty good. Like, they're holding him back, but then they get trapped under rubble. So you understand why they got subdued. And then Steppenwolf comes back up, and he's about to take out Cyborg and basically end the whole thing. And then Superman just shows up there, catches the axe with his shoulder, and he just
doesn't budge at all.
Yeah, and what does he say? Not impressed?
Yeah, not impressed.
Yeah, not impressed. And then he just blows on it. And then punches it, I think?
I don't remember what he did with that. Yeah. He definitely blew on it. He may have like waved the dust out of the way or something.
But he literally destroys Steppenwolf's axe. And you're like, oh my gosh, wow. And then he just starts like pummeling Steppenwolf. And you're like, wow, this dude. So Superman's even more powerful in this movie than he was in the Whedon one. But it's not to the point where he's overshadowing the other heroes and makes it feel like they don't need to be there. Whereas in the Whedon one, you're just like, these guys don't need to be here. Like, we just need Superman to show up and save the day.
You don't want someone who's just more powerful by doing someone else's job better than them. Exactly. You want someone to be in their own respect.
Yes. Yeah. But despite all that Superman does, he's like, you know, he's pummeling Steppenwolf. He's like laser blasting him. He's kind of just having fun with it. He's just doing like bah, 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 all this stuff. A portal opens up. Darkseid and them are watching. And then you realize, uh-oh, what's about to happen?
Well, you skipped the part a little bit because Flash was trying to charge up.
Yeah.
And I guess it's because of the fact that he got shot.
Yeah. Well, I think the portal already... I don't know if the portal opened up or not yet, but...
Well, he said he was like calling
They're running out of time. And the Flash was trying to go, and then he gets blasted by one of the parademons, and he tumbles, and he's like, oh no. And he's saying, heal, Barry, heal, because the Flash heals at accelerated rates. But he, you know, you can't run with like a gaping wound in your side. And so he's trying to like keep his mind on the prize. He's like, I gotta do this. But, you know, the portal opens up and Darkseid's looking. And then you're
that was like a scary scene.
Yeah.
When you just see the portal open and you just see Darkseid looking at you. Like no words, just...
Yeah. Well, he doesn't say any words to them at all, I don't think. It's not until the portal closes that he
doesn't speak until the very end.
Yeah, so that's intimidating, right? This guy doesn't have to say anything. He's just observing what work has been done. He's seeing if Steppenwolf is successful. And he's just letting them know, hey, if you think Steppenwolf was tough, watch out. You're going to need a few more people in your league.
Yeah, right.
And you know, and even Superman stops pummeling Steppenwolf to just like look at this, and he's like, oh gosh. And then they're waiting for Barry, but Barry's not there. And then the Unity. And I remember when we were first watching this, y'all just saw the reaction. I actually, in the reaction, I'm including this entire scene. Because the entire time I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Because totally different results than what happened in the Whedon version. Literally, the world is destroyed. Like, it's literally... But then the Flash, he like holds his hands out and starts like shaking. And you realize, no ways. He better go back in time. And he starts talking to himself, and he says, I got to break my one rule. I got to break my rule. I've got to do it. You got to be careful with it. The world depends on you. And then, like, he starts, like, you know, it's actually a very, like, poetic scene where he starts, like, talking to his dad. Like, he's, like, saying, Dad, I just want you to know I was one of them. Like, you're like, oh, like, he found his place. Kind of like Cyborg found his place.
Like Cyborg found his place.
Yeah, and the Flash, he finally found his place, too. He starts running. And it's one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in all cinema. Literally, he's stepping the world back into existence. Like, you just, like, with each step, things are just, like, coming back into formation. Like, this dude is powerful.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that whole additional scene there?
Oh, the scene was really, really cool. Like, I mean, I don't even know, like, what to say. Just, like, he's just, like, walking through a galaxy, and then as he steps, it's just, like... Yeah, it's like someone filmed it in reverse or something. Yeah, it's so neat. I absolutely loved it, and, man, I don't know. Like, you already saw my reaction. If you're watching this part of the video, you already saw my reaction. I just thought it was so cool seeing that. Totally different. It changes the context of everything, right? In the Whedon version, none of this happens. Like, it's literally just a big fight. They win. They let the parademons kill Steppenwolf. They move on. The biggest thing the Flash does is he goes and chases down... Like, literally, the Flash, he's always getting one up by Superman. He goes and pushes a truck. Well, he's running. Superman catches up with him. He pushes a truck. Superman picks up a building. Everything the Flash does in the other one gets undermined by what Superman does. Like, it seemed like an intentional one-up.
Yes.
Because, like, remember who the real boss is here.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because I'm a big Superman fan. There's a reason I drew myself as Superman. It's because he's my favorite hero. But you've got to make me realize why these people are here. And you get it with the Flash in this one. Like, literally the world would be destroyed if the Flash did not do that. And it's cool because you actually get to see his courage. Like, he literally was just, like, injured, like, badly. But he's like, no, I'm going to do this. And he saves the day. Like, if the Flash was not a part of the team, things wouldn't have worked out. If any of these people were not part of the team, it wouldn't have worked out. Every one of them played a crucial role. You get why they were there. It's like, okay, this is why I like Zack Snyder. Thank you. It makes sense.
They all got together and they were all made whole by doing what they were created to do.
Man, Sean, I'm so proud of you, brother. And that being said, that's how the whole thing ends up, right? You know, so the Flash saves the day. What's his name?
Aquaman.
Aquaman. he stabs Steppenwolf. Batman, Superman pushes him. Wonder Woman chops off his head, and then Darkseid stomps on his head.
That was like, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah, you don't... Well, first off, because Steppenwolf's been, like, trying to suck up to Darkseid this entire time, you see Darkseid did not care at all about Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
He steps on his head and crushes it, and that's also a subliminal message towards us being like, oh, crud, Darkseid's really powerful. Steppenwolf was already pretty intense, and he just crushed him under his foot. Yikes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Darkseid doesn't say anything, but the whole League, you know, they're just staring him down. And then the portal closes and he says, ready the Armadas. We'll do this the old way. And then we just cut to one final scene of them all standing there majestically, you know, the DC gods, you know, like the pantheon of the mythological gods of the DC universe. And that's how this part ends. That being said, it's time for my theological reflection.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking for a while, and it's time for some theology.
There's a lot.
Yes, there's a lot here. And so real quick, I'm going to remind you of what we've covered so far in the movie. Right, so part one, that one I talked about grief and the loss of hope, and that's comparable to humanity's state without Jesus. Right, so what I specifically compared it to was like probably how the disciples felt after Jesus died. You know, so we're grieving, we're without hope in the world. Go read Ephesians chapter 2 and you'll see how exactly we were when we were without Christ. Right? We don't have any hope. We're dead in our sins. We have no hope for the future because we realize we're distanced from God and we're destined for failure.
And we're also lost and trying to find out what...
We're lost and trying to figure out where to find hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then part two, that's history and the threat of evil. And this is where our heroes look into the past to figure out how past heroes have handled this threat of evil, right? So that's where, you know, we got to see everybody taking on Darkseid in the beginning. And I compared this to the Old Testament and how whenever we go to Scripture, we can actually see how people in the past have dealt with this state of sin that we're all found in. Part three, I talked about as conversion and moving on, because this is when the team starts getting together. And this is where we get to see people like Cyborg and Aquaman and the Flash. They go from being alone to joining a team. And so I compared this to the Christian having examined Scripture, learning, I need to come to Christ. And so they learn how to come together. You know, you were once dead in your sins, now you're alive in Christ. You've joined the team. You were once a sinner separated from God, now you're a Christian who is living for another purpose. Part 4, this is where the team starts really getting together. I compared this to unity and mission. This is once you've been saved, you start unifying with other believers. You start figuring out what is our mission in this world. We go out into the world to share the gospel with others, to give people that same hope. That's why the Justice League exists. They unify with one another to help share that unity with the world and to give them that message of hope. And they ultimately realize that the way they're going to do that is through Superman and his resurrection. So at the end of part 4, they realize we need to resurrect Superman. In the same way, Christians, our unity is found in the resurrection of Christ. That is what the Christian faith hinges upon. Part 5, that is resurrection and faith. Superman comes back to life, and they realize that their hope and their faith relies in him returning to save the day. Same thing is true for Christians, right? So we figured out our mission is to help save the world, and it relies on Jesus, and we have to put our faith in Jesus, and that's what we're sharing with the world, faith in Jesus. And that faith is specifically in his resurrection and in his future return. So that leads us to part 6, and this one is going to continue with the theme of faith from part 5, and that's because both in part 5 and part 6, Batman, it's crazy that it's Batman who has these quotes, right? He is the one who talks about faith. In part 5, he talks about faith. In part 6, he talks about faith. And so this one is going to be faith and hope, which is a nice resolution from part 1. Because part 1 was grief and the loss of hope. Well, now we have faith and hope. Because we realized that before, we didn't have Superman in the world. Now, we've got Superman back. And therefore, we have that hope that was gone in his absence. Whenever Jesus died, all the disciples probably thought, man, we wasted all our time on this. But then Jesus came back and they realized, oh man, we definitely didn't waste our time. This is what it was all for. In the same way in our lives, right? Whenever we were dead in our sins, we didn't have any hope, right? We didn't have that. We were estranged from God and we were destined for hell. But then through Jesus coming back, we have that hope restored and we place our faith in his resurrection. And now that hope leads us forward, and we've got the faith and hope we did not once have. And so Superman, he shows up, and he's the one who saves the day here, right? But he also needs the Justice League's participation in order to help him save the day. And that's exactly what Jesus does with us, right? Jesus, he doesn't need us. He himself is the one who accomplishes everything, but he asks us to join in him. He is the head of the church, just as Superman is the head of the league. And we partake with him. We do his work with him. We strive to imitate Christ as they strive to imitate Superman.
We baptize into him. Yes,
we are baptized into him as they are baptized into Superman, right? It all began with them realizing, like, he was their goal, right? They realized we need to, in his absence, they were the ones who needed to step in his place, right? They were like, okay, if Superman's not back, we need to be the Superman of this world. But their hope was ultimately in him coming back. That's the same thing for us nowadays in the church. Jesus, he's gone, and he's promised he's going to come back. But in his absence, we are supposed to live like Christ and be Christ to other people, pointing them back to him and giving them that same hope in his future return.
It's kind of cool. They almost kind of did baptize Superman.
They did. Like they dunked him in the water. Yeah, and the goop.
That was kind of like the turning point where it was like, yeah.
Right? I'm telling you, I think some of this stuff, I think Zack Snyder does intentionally. I don't believe he's a Christian. But he definitely, we've seen this in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, he embraces the Christian imagery of Superman. And so I do appreciate that a whole lot. And this, I'll just end with this, because I'll return us to that quote where Batman says, he'll be here, I know it. Alfred says, what makes you believe that? And Batman says, faith, Alfred, faith. That is where us Christians are nowadays. The Bible ends with Jesus saying, behold, I am coming soon. And now, we're the ones who have to say, like Batman, he's going to come back. He'll be there. I know it. And people will say, what makes you believe that? It's been 2,000 years. And we just have to say, faith. Faith. right? And so that's where we're at right now, and that is how you can find. I find this fun. I enjoy looking at movies and trying to find the gospel truth layered in that, even if it's not a Christian movie, because I think that the gospel message is not only a true story, but I think it's also one of the most interesting stories known to man, and therefore, even people who aren't explicitly Christian, I think they're going to have the gospel somewhere hidden in their message, in their movies.
If it's a good story,
Exactly.
It's going to have elements of the gospel in it.
Yeah, if it's a good story, it's going to have it, because I think that that's the beautiful thing about the gospel. Not only is it good, but it's true. It is the truest form of the best stories. And so every time you have a really good story, there's going to be elements of it there, because that's what appeals to us. Those values, the values found in the gospel, it appeals to us as humans. And so I think it was really cool. And I think that this worked out a lot better than I expected. Like, the parallels work really well with the Christian walk.
And then on the flip side of that, you have like if we're looking at placing our hope in Superman, and then you have the opposite of that, which was Steppenwolf, who placed his hope in Darkseid. And then not only did he get defeated by the heroes, but Darkseid himself, it gets revealed that he didn't care for him at all. It's like Satan with us. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily to say that Satan wants us to think that he cares about us necessarily, but you learn that he doesn't care at all.
Satan, he wants you to feed on. He wants you to feed on your desires and think that he can offer you more than you will. This whole thing, Steppenwolf was fighting for redemption.
Yeah.
And Darkseid kept teasing him, saying, "Oh, you might get it if you do this for me and that for me." Yeah. Was Steppenwolf ever going to get it? Probably not. Darkseid didn't care for him at all.
He probably would have just killed him after he got him the other boxes.
Yeah. Or if anything, he'd just say, "Oh, you still haven't done enough for me." Or he would do something.
That's true. Just keep him working for him.
Yeah, because why would you not? I mean, right now you've got this willing slave who's willing to do anything for you.
And
that's exactly how Satan works. And so, very good catch. Yeah, you literally have the light side embodied in Superman, and literally his symbol means hope.
Yeah.
And then you have Darkseid, who is the epitome of evil right here. And you've got Steppenwolf, who maybe that's why we feel compassion for him, right? Because he's an example of somebody who's dead in their sins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what they're doing is evil, but you realize that their heart is they want something pure, but he's finding it through the wrong place.
Yeah, you don't want to say heart's in the right place.
Yeah,
but to me, that's why you would feel compassion for him, is because we've all been there.
Well, exactly.
In a way.
Yeah, like Steppenwolf is us, but we shouldn't. Like, we want to not have his same end, right? We want to learn our faults and our mess ups before we reach that point. And unfortunately, some people won't. That's why we need to respond to the gospel, and we need to come to Christ, right? Steppenwolf needs to repent and needs to come join the Justice League. Think about what good he could accomplish.
Right.
But instead he doesn't, and he lives for Darkseid to the end, and in the end it's Darkseid who crushes his head.
Ultimately, sin leads to death.
Yeah, which is interesting if you go back to Genesis 3.
Well, I was going to say, is there significance to the image of...
Well, that's what I was thinking of. I don't know if this was intentional by Zack Snyder, but Genesis 3... there's this prophecy about how there's going to be enmity between the serpent and the seed of the woman, which would be between the devil and Jesus, right? And ultimately, the devil is going to bruise Jesus' heel, but Jesus is going to crush its head.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of Jesus stomping on the devil, and because of that, the devil's bruised his heel. So ultimately, they're both going to injure each other, but Jesus is going to, he's going to defeat it once and for all.
I guess the only flaw in that is that Darkseid's the one who crushes his head.
Well, but I'd say it's fitting there, because you get to see the difference between serving the devil and serving Jesus, right? Because Jesus, he's not going to do that to those who serve him, right? Those who serve Jesus are going to be partaking in him crushing the devil. Yeah. But if you serve the devil, he's just going to end up crushing you anyways, you know?
Or at the very least, whenever you pass through that portal, if it was the flip side, where you died for Christ, he wouldn't finish you off.
Exactly. Yes. He would hold you and say, "Well done, good and faithful servant."
Yeah, and then you'd be like, "All right, now you're entering actual life."
Ah, good stuff. Good stuff, man. Like, nice. I think that's a good place to end.
Probably, yeah.
Wow. Good stuff. Do you know Jesus Christ? There you go. Sorry. This just turned into evangelism. Wow, great. I hope you enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. I hope you enjoyed our reflections. I know a lot of people think that I talk a whole lot in the reaction videos, but if you've made it this far, you probably don't care that much. But I will explain to you, the reason I talk so much is because if I don't talk a lot in the reactions, I get copyrighted for the movie. and then I have to go through all these extra steps just to release this on YouTube. And so it's easier to only include scenes where I'm talking a whole lot. So if you're commenting on the video saying, oh my gosh, this guy's so annoying for talking a lot, first off, I don't know why you're watching a reaction video, because I'm pretty sure that's the point of reaction videos. Second off, I don't honestly care that much, because it's my YouTube channel, and I'm going to talk. So there's
How
that
dare
as
you
well.
talk on your YouTube videos?
Yeah, I know. But then third, that's also why, right? So there's a copyright thing. But that being said, thank you so much for watching this with us. We're still going to do an epilogue video. Whether or not we film that now or not, I guess you will see, depending on whenever that video is uploaded. But I'll get this one to you as soon as you can. Until then, I guess not until then. Since you're watching this, like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on that notification bell so that you know when we come out with new videos. And yeah, Sean, thank you so much for joining me in this journey.
Absolutely.
I know I'm kind of ending this as if it's the final one. We still have one more video to make. Yeah. But thank you so much. And I've enjoyed your reflections and always including some theology. That's always good. Do you have anything else to say?
No, that was it.
All right, cool.
I just want to make sure I had those last two things.
Oh, that's good. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, well, I'm David.
I'm Sean.
And this has been a Let's Be Honest About Movies. We will see you later. Bye.